Hello everyone, welcome to my little, um, remember the video of the Choose Your Own Adventure that I made a little while back. Now I'm gonna make a new video because that was for a project for school. This time I really want to turn it into reality. Now, like you can see here, I have the general thing set up in my drive. I kind of wanted to show you guys how how far I came with what I have and what I don't have. Now, these two are the primary ones that I've worked out so far. General info I will also open up. But for example, I don't have anything in NPCs yet because there's no NPCs yet because I first need to do storyboarding and all that. But I did want to have characters and zombies already ready so I can write with that. Now, let's start with the setting. Like you can read here. Let me read it out for you. This is the setting, how I want to make it. Of course, if you have any tips or things that you would like added or things you would love to see, please leave a comment down below. But let's get on with it. The presetting is the current world, so 2018 right now, where at one point America developed a biological weapon called something, I don't know what yet, that would mutate people into these crazed monsters. It sadly backfired on launch, as one of the missiles failed to launch properly and launched right onto the country itself. Hitting it, while the second and third rocket were launched at both Russia and China. They didn't just zombify the population, but also made some people mutated and different infected. Their entire body mutating to serve different purposes to infect others in the world. The disease/virus transmitting through both air and saliva, with only about 0.1% of the population being immune to the airborne virus, while not being immune to the saliva. Very basic settings for now. Well, this is the very basic setting that I have. Let's remove that because I've copy and pasted this out of a Discord conversation. Some infected could be called uncommon infected. These would be the smilers and the slashers who only mutated in different ways thanks to the injuries. Now, while I do call this a zombie apocalypse, recall these are not actually zombies. They're not walking dead, they're mutated people. Now, the mutation will make it so that their bodies require less water and less food to drive them. But, like any other creature, they are still alive, shot in the stomach, it kills them. If they do get wounds that are not fatal, these generally tend to regen really fast. While these creatures rest, because they also still need to rest, although they don't obey day and night cycle. They just rest whenever they're tired on whatever spot they are. Now, let's go to the zombies, because that might be good. Now you have the semi-infected, which are people that are halfly immune to the entire virus. Basically, this allows them to keep control for the most part until they smell blood, in which case the zombie infection will engage, and they will generally try to attack. Now, these infected recognize each other as semi-infected, so if a semi-infected bleeds, the other semi-infected don't pile up on them. As well as when they smell blood and they've attacked the target or don't smell blood anymore, they turn back in their normal selves. Now, while they're in this frenzy, this infected state, other infected will recognize them as infected. Once they're not, other infected will not recognize them as infected. Sounds simple, right? And then we have the common infected, which is the general populace that it was infected by the very first bomb. Now, of course, this disease is airborne, but this airborne disease only really is affected, like, it spreads out. It doesn't go instantly, so people can prepare for it. For example, this bomb hit, let's say, East America, so then West America would have some time to prepare as the disease spreads through the entirety of the Americas. Maybe it's even safe because there's this mountain in between. But we're not going to focus on the safe part. We're going to focus on the infected part. Now we have survivor infected. Those are people that survived the airborne strain but got infected because of bites. Then we get to the uncommon infected. If you ever recognize this, by the way, it's mostly because it's partly based on Left 4 Dead. I love Left 4 Dead, but this is not going to be a shooty type game. It's choose your adventure story of one of 5 characters which you can play. Now we have the Smilers. The so-called Smilers are general infected have lost their jaw, either by other infected turning them to what they are now, or losing it in an accident. Infected with their tongue hanging out of their neck, unable to eat or feed themselves through biting. So these infected use their longer teeth and tongues to either strangle their prey or scrape their flesh off using the hook-like teeth they have, and then eat it with their tongue, like pull it in their stomach with their tongue. Now you have the Slashers, and the Slashers are general infected that either broke a limb or got one ripped off by either an accidental causes before the infection or because another infected ripped it off. Their leftover bone changes into a blade-like weapon that they can use to severely injure their prey but not spread the infection. Which is, I really like. Honestly, I really like that. Then we have the Starved. The Starved are people from insane asylums wearing straitjackets. These infected can generally run faster than the common infected. The Starved attack both infected and survivors alike and will eat every last bit of them. Now the Starved are also attacked by normal infected, so you won't see much Starved around. They cannot swallow their meals. There has generally formed a hole in the sides of their neck, out of which their food falls, so they all remain hungry. 2 things. The Starved, because of this, doesn't live long, and the Starved, they generally disappear after like the first week. They can drink properly, but they can't eat. Sort of like not most of their food falls in their stomach. Now we have the Shielded, and the Shielded are if a person had any 3rd degree burns, not burns, on their body. These may suddenly harden when they become an infected. They can use these as biological shields. These shields will not stop bullets, but they can be used to block normal melee weapons without causing too much damage to the infected. So yeah, we have like 4 common ones. Do know that, like I said, this is a virus that makes people sick, mutates them, but they're still alive. Like, they're much more savage animals than they are, undead. So if you have any suggestions, anything you're like, oh, that'd be cool, please tell me. Do know they still need to be alive somehow. And if they have body parts missing that would be needed for survival, like one that's all the way down here, then they don't live long. Now, crows. Let's quickly get to the animal infected before the special infected. We have the crows, and it's a very rare infected crow. It's a very rare creature because the crows generally don't get hit. Like, the airborne strain doesn't affect animals, but they can still be infected by biting. And even then, it has to mutate into a strain that can infect animals, which rarely happens. It works on some creatures more than others, but it's basically a creature with its stomach with its stomach open and all its intestines hang out. It can control them, and it uses them to strangle its prey. That's basically what these crows do. Now let's go to the special infected. We have the sleeper. And now, how the special infected work is that they exist because someone with a severe condition, a mental or physical condition, that got enhanced by this virus and used into the mutation, which makes them a different type of infected. For example, the sleeper is basically mimics a corpse, If survivors are close to it, it releases a gas. Because of this gas, the survivor becomes sleepy or drowsy, and if not immune to the airborne virus, this person will be infected. These generally are get from insomnia victims who don't get enough sleep. The birther is maybe the most horrific infected, like it says here. It's a female-only infected that is created if the person infected was pregnant. If this infected dies and it isn't shot in the stomach, a small fetus infected can temporarily survive outside of its mother's stomach, as it snaps off the cord it is attached to, and it crawls its way out of the stomach to attack survivors who think they're safe after killing a birther. So pretty gruesome. Now let's go to the actor. Now the actor is... Let's just read what I've written down. I'm very good at English, you can see that. I'm kidding, not that good. From a distance, the actor looks like any other alive person, walks normally, perhaps uses an umbrella when it rains, but upon closer inspection they aren't all that they seem. They are in fact infected that are acting as if they're not. They are even able to repeat a couple of phrases that they said before they turned. This makes them much better at infiltrating than other infected, although their ability to act is limited, and when they can get their hands on a target, they act like any other infected. These people used to suffer from multiple personality disorder. Now, if you think these are mostly gruesome, I think it is a really cool concept. Now, I'm not trying to single these people out, and of course these things are not a joke, but it makes for really good writing material. Now, the predators. These infected run on both hands and feet much faster than even the starved. They used to suffer from a major form of ADHD, or ADHD, but now the infection utilizes that condition, let's call it, it's not a disease, to push the body's limits so that they can hunt their prey easily. While fast, these infected cannot keep this speed up for longer periods of time and cannot maneuver easily while going at high speeds. Now, the last one we have is the escapist, and the escapist is basically an infected that's like any normal infected, only they run from survivors, thanks to previously being extremely antisocial. These infected cry loudly as it runs, attracting other infected. Now these are the specials. Of course, this won't be a shooting game, so these creatures all will be in the story in a way, so these are also not the names that they officially have. People can call them differently based on what they see. These are just the names I use to represent them, if that makes any sense. I think it does. Now, we might go to the most important part, the character ideas. Now, these are pretty worked out. I've used a poll to determine their personality and to determine, or not their personality, but determine their job, their gender, their age, and their country of origin. Now, first, if you see none of these have names yet, because I suck at names, and I think it might also be cool to let the player write their own name down, so they can choose who they are. Now, we have the lighthouse keeper, which is a female. She's European. This is all setting in America. These people also generally live in the same city. She's between 25 and 35. She's an imaginative person, not very social, and strong-willed. Her dislike of people often makes her stress or struggle when she has to work together with others. Now, that's a flaw. She adds now her backstory, although short, it's pretty clear. She used to be an art student whom loved nothing more than paint every single thought that came up in her mind. But after a while of painting, or basically after finishing her study and painting, she lost her inspiration and decided on a different style of life, living alone in a lighthouse, guiding the ships that come along. It would have been an interesting story to tell if her time at the lighthouse would have involved anything interesting. While she started to doubt her decision to work at the lighthouse, she got thrown right into the apocalypse. I will not say how, because that might be spoilers, but you can guess. Now we have the Mortician, who's a male. He's Australian. He's 55 to 65. His personality is desensitized, curious, and unfunny. Now his flaws, poorly timed jokes can make stressful situations even worse and often demoralizes the party. Do note this is just a group thing. Backstories. The Mortician lost his wife about 5 years ago. As his backstory is, by the way, a little bit longer because he's older. Lost about 5 years ago as she got killed in a random robbery. He was heartbroken and irritated and they couldn't help the investigation as he wasn't allowed to investigate on his own wife. Ultimately, he was grateful that he didn't have to do it, but this event did have a big impact on him. It was almost as if a part of him died. He started to focus full time on his job, and the jokes he started to make became inappropriate. He was one of the first people that came into contact with the undead. Oh, I didn't write more info here. As he investigated these creatures, he realized that one of them wasn't dead yet and came eye to eye with the living dead, its stomach still hanging open. Now he has a dead wife, 3 children aged 34, 36, and 40, and 5 grandchildren at the age of 2, 6, 6, and 7, and 8. Now we have a surgeon who's female Asian, between the age of 25 and 35. Personality is pessimistic, logical, and determined, and her determination can work on the nerves of others, and her negative attitude on life often makes people lose hope. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do based on mechanics yet. This might affect people, like, he will remember this in Walking Dead, or in the Telltale style, but different. Like, let's say, imagine if there was a scene where a character could save you. And if they really hate you, they don't. If they love you, they'll maybe even die for you. Now, of course, this will be on hard time on artists, which I'm still looking for. Perhaps a friend of mine wants to do it, but I'm not sure yet. Now, the backstory is the surgeon has seen many things in her short amount of working. She just finished out of university, where she finished top of her class. Her goal was to make her parents proud and make enough money to live in a bigger place, as her family never had it big. After she finished the university course, she had... Let's write down course here. She had some hand-on experience with stitching people up and operating them. One of her patients, though, seemed to suddenly awaken out of the operation and it bit straight through the main surgeon's throat. She has parents and a younger brother. Now we have a tattooist, which is female, North American, 20 to 25. Her personality is stoic and distrustful. Her distrust for others generally makes her suck in any leader role. Before the apocalypse, she was running in a successful parlor, being just shy of 22 years out of serving prison time for a hit and run while intoxicated. From prison, she was introduced to tattooing. Dabbling in the art prior, she decided to take up on prison tattooing. When out of prison, she continued tattooing, setting up a small shop and making ends meet tattooing. I have no clue. Someone else wrote this for me. And making a living from this newfound passion. There we go. Over there, Kayla, which is like a scout leader. A friend of mine made him. He's a male, Canadian, also North American, obviously. He's 39, between 39 and 47. He's bright, bubbly, and comforting. Always helpful to the point where he often endangers his own life. Doesn't have a backstory yet because the other person writes it for this character. He was an office worker in his daily life and had 2 kids aged 11 and 15. Now, these are all the characters. Now, there won't be any new characters involved because these 5... I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet. I would like you to tell me in the comments. Either I am going to make these 5 separate stories, but that's going to be a huge pile of workload, so I'm leaning away from that. And my most likely idea is each of these 5 characters, they all have a prologue, have their own individual experience with the party, and then at one point they meet in a similar place. Now, of course, the game remembers their background and remembers their, stuff they have and all that, and their personality and the character, but they all eventually reach the same point, and from there on out, it's the same for each character. Now, of course, the story depends on what you choose. You can go to different places. You can go to different NPCs. Hopefully, of course, is really, really. I'm not sure yet if this is gonna work and how far I am gonna get, but I'm gonna try to get as far as possible. Now, NPCs, if you have a suggestion, write it down. If you have any suggestions for scenarios, that might be cool. If you maybe have a suggestion for the stories of these characters, let me know. If you're interested in the game in general, of course, leave a like and tell me, because that'd be a major boost. That'd be amazing if people were interested. Because I'm trying to make a real proper zombie apocalypse choose your own adventure where your choices really matter. Now, of course, this has been said many times before, so hopefully they will, but I'm gonna try my best anyway. Do know this is the first thing I'm trying, so it might not be as grand, but yeah, please let me know if you're interested, because that'd be amazing, as I personally have always loved the zombie apocalypse genre. Of course, there's not zombie effect, but you get what I mean. It's part of, so yeah, I really want to do it justice. I really want to do zombie apocalypse justice. So yeah, that was me trying to show off my little project. Of course, like I said, leave suggestions in the comments, and well, see you later. Assametry out.